Number 10, the Great Mosque and Kaaba in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. This picture was taken on March 5th, and while that's not a date of any particular significance on the Islamic calendar, the Great Mosque typically sees thousands of visitors on any given day. The reason it was empty was due to the government's order that it be completely cleaned and sanitized for fear of spreading COVID-19. It opened the next day, but still saw far fewer visitors than normal. One reason the numbers were low is because the kingdom banned foreign visitors from entering the country on February 27. Number 9, Beirut's Corniche Promenade in Lebanon. This photograph taken by Mohammed Zakir shows the popular promenade completely devoid of human activity of any kind. Gone are the joggers, the walkers, the buskers, the famous pushcart vendors, and everyone else who would normally be seen on an otherwise beautiful day. The atypical shot of Corniche Promenade is the result of a government-mandated curfew, leaving many on lockdown within their homes. Sights like this are common all over the world as the COVID-19 crisis worsens, and this is just one of many similar images found all over the internet. Number 8, social distancing in Colombo, Sri Lanka. This picture was taken in Sri Lanka by Danu Kalinawat outside a grocery store in Colombo. The people in the picture can be seen wearing masks, and are standing approximately 1 meter apart. Most governments and the WHO are telling people to double that distance, but it's not always possible, leaving many in unsafe, yet desperately in need of supplies. Sri Lanka placed a curfew on its citizens prior to this photograph but relaxed it for a short time following a lull in newly reported cases. Number 7, mobile morgues and refrigerated trucks holding bodies in New York City. This shot, taken by John Minchello, shows bodies being loaded into refrigerated trucks outside a New York City hospital. NYC was one of the hardest hit American cities in the early days of the crisis, and its hospitals quickly reached capacity on a number of services, which include the storage of the dead. The Brooklyn Hospital is one of many that have turned to such measures to store bodies, and the city has many. By April 8, more than 4,000 people died in New York City alone. Number 6, quarantined Italians singing together from their balconies. In an attempt to combat the isolation and sense of dread many were experiencing, people all over the nation went to their balconies and began making music with one another. These musical flash mobs came together all over Italy, and on March 13, people all over the country went to their balconies to collectively sing the national anthem, Inno di Memli, in a show of unity during the crisis. This picture taken by Mauro Cinquetti shows a woman singing from her balcony, and if you haven't seen this one, there are thousands of photographs and videos of people singing to and with one another all over the internet. Number 5, Dr. Li Wenliang's selfie from his hospital bed shortly before succumbing to COVID-19. Dr. Li was the whistleblower, who sounded the initial alarm over a virus he had been observing that was similar to SARS. He was admonished by the Communist Party of China for making false comments on the internet. After contracting the virus he was fighting against, he took this photo from his hospital bed. He died on February 7, and this photograph went viral. Shortly after his death, the Communist Party of China issued a solemn apology for its admonishment of Dr. Li, though, by that time, the virus had spread outside of the country's borders. Number 4, Russian cargo plane filled with supplies lands in the USA. Supplies were a problem, but some countries that weren't initially hit as hard as the United States did what they could to help. Russia filled a plane with supplies and sent them to the United States, which resulted in this photograph that circulated online for weeks. The aircraft was sent to the States following a one-on-one phone call between both nations' leaders. President Putin made the gesture with the consideration that should the US see a drop in cases while Russia finds itself dealing with a rise, the states will reciprocate if need be. Number 3, homeless in Las Vegas sleeping in social distancing grids. Exponential infection is one of the greatest concerns where COVID-19 is concerned, and in cities like Las Vegas, the way the city has had to deal with it made international news. Shelters were forced to close amidst the crisis, leaving as many as 500 on the streets. The city painted grids on the upper parking lot of the Cashman Center, with each box being meant as a place for one person each to sleep. Unfortunately, all good intentions being what they are, people online pointed out that the squares were too close together, negating the need for social distancing, which further spread the image to others as it became viral. Number 2, healthcare workers' faces after working with COVID-19 patients for days. Supply issues aside, N95 masks work well because they sit snugly on the face, and aren't the most comfortable things to wear for extended periods of time. Throughout the month of March, people began sharing photos of what they looked like after working for hours and days while wearing the masks. Faces bruised around the eyes and mouth became a common sight as more and more healthcare workers joined in with their own shots. The photos don't just show bruised and tired people, they show the men and women working on the front lines to combat the disease, many of whom worked for long 12, 18, and 24-hour shifts. Number 1, USNS Comfort and the Statue of Liberty. There weren't enough beds for COVID-19 patients, and there were almost no beds available to people suffering from everything else. People needing surgery, chemo treatment, and every other issue folks go to the hospital for were running into a lack of capacity in treating them. To combat the problem, the USN sent 2 ships, the USNS Comfort and USNS Mercy, to New York City and Los Angeles, respectively. Both vessels were meant to ease the burden by providing 1,000 hospital beds for patients not suffering from COVID-19, though since they have arrived, the USNS Comfort has taken on patients suffering from the disease. Shots like this one showing the Statue of Liberty in the foreground of the USNS Comfort spread all over the internet as it approached the port. The arrival indicated a show of support and a sign of hope in the days to come.